This is episode 4 of Cowboy Bebop, the Gateway Shuffle. This time with my friend Marvin, who knows Cowboy Bebop better than I do because he's actually seen it. There's so many little things about this episode that I enjoyed. When you really look at it all together, this episode did nothing.
It really did. It was probably the first self-defining filler episode of Cowboy Bebop. You saw, and I saw in your older reviews, that in the first 3 episodes it introduces a new character.
Yeah.
So it does have to do with the story, but this was the first kind of just random episode.
The thing is that this episode did something important, which is the world building and solidified Faye going into the crew. In the last episode, I mentioned that Faye is kind of like she's a liar, she's a fucking bitch, and you can't be trusted.
She's like Nami, but less loyal.
Yeah, but it makes sense for her character because she's also a bounty hunter. Now you get to see her go through all this shit with everybody else, and she goes through an experience as opposed to being a fucking hostage like she was the last episode. This episode mostly focused on an antagonist named Twinkle Maria Murdoch, but her subordinates called her Mom.
Even though they're not even her children.
They're just her subordinates, so it don't mean shit. What I found interesting, world building wise, is that first of all, it's very clear still that we're in the solar system, our own solar system, because you're on an asteroid that resembled Tijuana, Mexico.
You may not know this yet, but it's not really like that much of an important detail. But they are all from different planets retrospectively, I think, and Faye's the only one who's actually from Earth. There was some cool sci-fi jabs in this episode, more so than the last episodes too, that they threw in there. Like they threw in some science facts.
They mentioned that she was planning on destroying Ganymede. Ganymede is the third moon of Jupiter. So it's interesting that there's people living on the third moon of Jupiter, which means civilization has gotten to that far into the solar system least to live on the moon, on Jupiter's third moon, in fact. Twinkle Maria Murdoch is called Mom. So while I'm watching the episode, I'm thinking about who the fuck does she look like? And it ends up being Mom from Futurama is based on her. It's physically based on her. It looks exactly like her.
The same physical.
The same physical features. They look exactly like they have the same hair, same build.
They even act the same.
And their whole shtick with their subordinates is that the subordinates call them Mom. I did look up something else about her. The first episode that she was introduced in Futurama was called A Fistful of Dollars, which is the name of the original movie.
It's a Clint Eastwood film
called A Fistful of Dollars, right?
It's the first Western he was in that introduced, the man with no name, the cowboy, Clint Eastwood, as he is.
That's the name. That's the name of the movie. That's the name of It's the name of that episode.
And this show is inspired by Western movies.
Yeah, and this show has an episode called A Fistful of Woolongs. See, it's all meta. It's all within to each other. So that's what's really cool.
Maybe her character, even though they took her characteristics and her whole persona and vibe from Cowboy Bebop to this show, maybe I could look into it more, but I feel like I have a lot of Western movies, but maybe there was like old villains even in those films that kind of acted like that.
I'm pretty sure
I feel like there was someone else even before Cowboy Bebop, like a character of Mom that was like that there had to have been. For them to have called that episode A Fistful of Dollars and like
there's a bunch of stuff
Cowboy
like that.
Bebop.
So overall, this episode is just interesting in the fact of world building, and then brings Faye into the fold as opposed to just leaving her out as a bounty hunter. What I noticed that I thought was really funny. Now, before I called Spike a reckless piece of shit.
Oh my God.
Now, the most important part about this is that when they were describing what does that virus do, that it turns people into monkeys.
Yeah, there was
they keep cutting back to Spike fucking with the virus,
fiddling
like a monkey.
Virus,
Like if you gave a monkey something like an iPhone, the monkey would do all the same shit he did, smashing it, kicking it. He was the monkey.
Yeah, and if it broke, it did not break, because of luck, but Mom kept looking at Spike like, oh my God, is this guy about to rip
dumb monkey is about to ruin my fucking shit?
Because if you rip that, then everybody in that room would turn into a human-like monkey with like no brain power.
Yeah, and then by the end of it, which I saw that he was reckless, is he fucking shot the thing. He just shot the casing and left the actual virus alone.
Yeah. He's kind of smart in his own way. Like I feel like he was just like doing that on purpose to see her. Because you think about it, why would he put it back in her pocket? He only put it back because maybe while he was fiddling with it, he was actually keeping a close eye on her and seeing how she reacted to that, and that's why he put it back in her pocket.
He's smart. He's trying to use, he's basically using interrogation techniques to find out that this is something important to her. So he's trying to find every way he can to hurt the thing that she cares about while not breaking it at the same time. So I'll give him credit for that. Doesn't stop him from being fucking reckless. I'm pretty sure there was a better way to handle that shit.
Oh no, absolutely.
Than shoot at it like with a like a fucking maniac. That's the end of the video. If you want to watch the rest of it, just click on the link for my previous video.